Just give me a minute. Hi, folks on Instagram. Trying to go live on YouTube right now, and I am live on my Facebook as well. Hello, hello, hello. Warm welcome. This is Harleen Bagga coming to you live from Soul Therapy, where we talk about your questions and issues that pertain to you, stuff that is troubling you. Typically, the format of the situation is such that you send me your questions in advance for the sake of anonymity, of course, given that people are modest about the questions and the issues that they are going through. And I pass through the questions, select a few that I think are appropriate, that merits answering, and I go ahead and answer them in this forum. This forum is for everyone and anyone to tune into, listen to. Sometimes someone else's questions can also enable you to think and to figure out and bring clarity in your life. I am a multidisciplinary psychotherapist, a psychologist, and a counselor. Moving on to my first question for the day. My first question for the day is, please maintain anonymity. I have a teenage 15-year-old daughter who seems to be in competition with me. I love my daughter a lot, but that love does not translate into our relationship. I don't know what to do. Please help. So the first question is about some kind of competition that a daughter and mother are engaging in, unfortunately. The answer to your question, dear mom, and yes, I am going to maintain anonymity. The answer to your question is this. It seems like your daughter is insecure at this point. And we need to find her help to help her understand what is troubling her, right? And we do that first, mom, by building you up, making you self-aware. See, the medium that you have chosen to reach out for help, and I'm very glad that you did, is through this counseling session, which means that since you and your daughter are not in front of me, it's very difficult for me to figure out what's troubling her and where, if at all, your relationship needs fixing or patching. So the only thing that I can do is give you suggestions on how you can parse the situation and figure out what's wrong. Because it is very, very important for us to understand why she's feeling insecure. What is that fear that is causing her to get competitive with her own mother? See, first thing that I want you to answer is, what is she competing for, mom? Is she competing for popularity, which means that maybe that you are popular with your friends and she's also competing for popularity? Or is she competing for love and attention? And is she competing for love and attention through your family members, maybe her dad, maybe a sibling, maybe other family members in your house? Or is it teachers? Is it society? What is it that she is competing attention for? It is very important that you identify that first, dear mom. I want to go back to something called as attachment theory in psychology, right? Attachment theory suggests that the way the child is brought up is how they will become as adults. And that is very important for each and every parent to understand. Attachment theory buckets people into three categories. The first category is a secure attachment, where they have experienced a healthy emotional communication with their folks at home. The second theory is where the child is anxious all the time. And the child is anxious when they feel a sense of unworthiness within themselves, and they feel that they are more clingy onto people. And when they're clinging on to people, they want to be around someone all the time, which in your case, she is clinging to get what you have. So, if I have to read in between the lines, I would tell you that it's quite possible that she is suffering from a little bit of insecurity where she's questioning her own self worth because she is measuring herself up to you, mom, and you need to help her. It is very, very important that you help her out in this case. The third group, as per the attachment theory, are those people who avoid attachment altogether, where they feel that they are self sufficient, where they don't need emotions at all. They feel that they alone can handle everything and anything. And you know why they do that? Because they have fear, perhaps, of abandonment. They have fear of rejection. They have fear of loss. Again, the reasons can be multiple, and I will not know that unless and until I don't see the client by my own self. But that's all right. I'm happy that you have asked me this question, and that really we're trying to enable you and empower you to figure out what's happening with your daughter. Because for me, that by itself is a big win. So thank you so much for asking me. I will, however, at this point, try and share some videos which I think for any parent you need to see, view, and uh, help uh, understand what the video is trying to convey to you. It will give you a lot of clarity, right? And the videos talk about different things. They talk about uh, perspective, what it means, what are the different kind of perspectives that people have, what about the belief development, where is it that somewhere uh, perhaps we've gone wrong. Perhaps the parent has gone wrong, and that is why your child is undergoing insecurity and self worth issues. And this is not things that you have to feel bad about, dear parent. I am impressed and I am very, very proud of you for coming forward, because parenting is also guiding your children, guiding your child in the right direction. That means accepting and recognizing when something is wrong, and that is something that you have done wonderfully. So, kudos to you. I will send those videos in a bit. I seem to be struggling to do that because I was trying to send multiple videos at the same time, and YouTube does not allow me to do that, unfortunately. There you go. I am sending you one video at a time. Right now, I am putting it on my YouTube stream. I will repeat the same on my Facebook and Insta as well. Uh, this is a lot of information, and this is information that helps us become better communicators, that helps us become better people, that helps us become better parents. I would urge you definitely to view each of this video and see what you can take away from it and how you are able to benefit and help your child in the process. I have actually a similar question that I'm going to just call out right now, and then I will piggyback the answer for both the children. The second question is is from a parent. It's from a dad. He says, I live in Gurgaon. I have a successful family business and run my house as per my rules. My son joined my business a few years ago. I feel a sense of competition in him where I am concerned. The business is his, but he is not happy when things are going right for me. I have tried to tell him that I am working for him and all this money is for him and he should be happy about me working hard. He says he is, but then he argues and wants to prove himself right during a conversation. I don't want to lose him, nor my business. What do I do? Please don't share personal details. You have given me a lot of information, dear Dad. Thank you so much for reaching out, and I truly do appreciate you reaching out and sharing a nugget of your life with me. So, what's happening to you is also something similar, right? First things first, both the parents and all the parents out there, I do want you to go through these videos because these videos will give you clarity on where, if at all, you are going wrong. And if you have gone wrong, how, if at all, to fix it. That is the first thing first. Remember, the fix begins with you recognizing and accepting that perhaps somewhere you have given extra leeway or have not understood your child, right? Second thing that I want to do is I want you to understand this thing, right? Both parents and everyone listening out there. We all have different perspectives in life, right? Which means that some of us perceive the world by sight, some of us perceive the world by analysis, by data, while some of us perceive the world using emotions. Now, depending upon the perception, the frame of reference is completely different. For a person perceiving the world with sight, he or she will not pay attention to their emotions as the moral compass, and they will neither pay attention to the data. You can see the first video that I have shared where I have outlined this, but just for the sake of the video, I'm just going to repeat it very quickly. Uh, if you have a friend who comes to you and says that, hey, I am that person's not doing well, the person is visibly disturbed, someone whose perspective is through sight, when you look at that person and that person is behaving normal, the person is trying to blend in and assume that everything is all right, for someone whose perspective is sight, they will assume that you're doing fine. You can't blame that person. It is that person's perspective in life, right? For someone who is data driven, they will ask you, hey, buddy, how are you doing? You don't seem too well. And should your answer be a very valid excuse, something like, hey, you know what, I just didn't sleep well last night and hence I'm just groggy and I have a headache and I'm not myself. To someone who works with data, this excuse is logical. And once it's logical, they will not think anything more about it. That is their perspective, data driven. The third perspective is someone who runs through emotions, right? For someone who runs through emotions, they will try and gnaw at you and try and figure out, sometimes to the detriment of that person themselves, that what is it that is troubling you. These are just broad perspectives that people might have. It is something for you to keep in mind why and how when you are talking to your child. See, first things I want you to understand, are you actually talking to your child? Are you communicating with your child to listen? Are you treating them with respect? Because both your children in this case are young adults, right? One is a teenager, mom, and you, sir, dad, who've written to me, your son has already helped you and business. So you have to understand and see where you're going wrong in your communication, because how you communicate is exactly how the other person will perhaps perceive you as. If you are communicating as a parent who knows everything, as a parent who is a guru, who's a teacher, who's a coach, who's a mentor, you have already put yourself on a higher pedestal than that child. For you, sir, where your child has already joined business, if you are always negating what that child is trying to say, if you are using your academia, your laurels, your experience, your research, and are trying to overpower and overwhelm your son with information all the time, you are indirectly pushing him to a corner. You have to allow the child to make mistakes. It is very, very important for growth. I know as parents, we become extremely protective. And especially when we've been on a path ourselves, we really want to protect them. And we want to make sure that they are just absolutely fine and they have a cushioned life. But that is not what they want. When you overprotect your children, it leads to psychological issues. It leads to self worth. It leads to an imposter syndrome because they don't know who they are. It leads to an identity crisis and a relevance crisis, especially as they become adults. In this case, both the children are fighting hard to find who they are. They are fighting for their sense of relevance and their identity. Somehow, they feel that their identity is linked with something that you have, you, the parent, has. And that is where something along the journey went wrong, if I have to be honest. So, you, given the information and the videos that I have shared, parse that for yourself and try and have that dialogue with your child. If that doesn't work, then definitely reach out to me and I should be able to help you figure out what went wrong and really how to bridge this gap. Because bridging the gap is key and essential. You cannot, now that you know that your child is becoming competitive with you, it is very important to address it. The mistake that people make is thinking that, oh, I will just shower my child with more love, attention, gifts, and maybe the child will we will feel all right. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way, and situations, especially psychological situations, don't work that way. You have to first identify what that fear and insecurity in your child is, help them empty that cup so that then, as a parent, you can help build them up, right? So, coming back, uh, build self awareness, see, be very, very careful how you're communicating with them. Um, and to the father, I would like to ask you this. I want you to ask this, right? How do you know that your perspective that you're carrying is accurate, right? And that is true for any parent, for any adult, for any coach, for any mentor, for anyone who's older and is in the capacity of a teacher. How do you know that your perspective is the absolute right perspective? We don't. We know that our perspective. Hey, hi, Hare Ram. Thank you for joining in. Hi, Sadhbir. Thank you for saying hi and your wishes. So, coming back, we have to figure out what is our perspective, right? And what makes our perspective accurate. Think about your emotions. Think about your journey. Think about your fears and your insecurities and your rejections and your acceptance and your accolades. What made you uh, what made you uh, someone wants to be alive, but sure, I don't mind. What made you be live? uh, uh, what made you think that your perspective is absolutely right, right? Second, on what truth and principle should you base your thinking? Think about it. What are the principles? What are the facts? What are the truths? What are the points that you're basing your principles on that you are enabling for your employees, your children, your students to follow? What is it? These points will help you think about how you came to a conclusion about your principles, how you concluded about your perspective in life. Should you not allow the same for your parent, for your child? Allow them to find their own perspective. Allow them to find their own truth and old principle, with your principles only being the guiding principle, with your truth and your perspective only being a guiding channel. That's it. And hopefully, with this, you will understand that both you and your child truly have a choice, and the choice is always, always there, right? For anything more, I'm sure there is a lot more that is going on. I have only touched the tip of the iceberg here, but I cannot talk to you more till I don't know the details and I don't know, I've not spoken to your child. But for now, my sincere request is go ahead, watch the videos. Go ahead, see if you're able to figure something out. And if you need help, just DM me, reach out, and we will try and get to the bottom of this and make sure that we build your child up with self worth and a lot of security, because their life is just starting and you want them to have and get that sense of security. Correct? The second question, actually, the third question that I'm going to do today is uh, regarding an influencer. It's a very interesting question. She says, being an influencer, there's constant pressure of delivering consistently. That pressure does affect my work quality at times. So, how do I keep myself calm or try to overcome? That's a great question, right? And in today's world, where there are so many influences out there, social media is paramount, and everyone is trying to carve their niche or their identity on social media. It is very easy to get lost and have a sense of identity crisis, or even have a sense of lack of self worth. How do you make sure that you remain true to yourself and your sense of worth does not astray? I would like to start with this. See, being an influencer, right? Especially in the media and entertainment industry, or is just like being in any other job, except in this case, there is a lot of pressure on you to consistently deliver on your numbers, especially if you have sponsors that are piggybacking on you. When you have a sponsor and you are supposed to give them certain likes for their feed, or you're supposed to give them a certain turnover, certain conversion rate uh, for an ad or for a promotion that you're doing for a sponsor, I fully understand the kind of pressure that you, dear influencer, is undergoing. So, what do you do? How is it? How can you remain true to yourself? How can you not get lost in the stress and anxiety, right? My first two suggestions to you would be about stress and anxiety. And my third thing that I would like to talk about is how you can stay grounded and be true to yourself. First things first is very easy. How do I deal with the stress and the calm and the anxiety? There are a lot of techniques out there to deal with stress and anxiety. You basically have to shock your body, right? Chewing gum, doing something that is that'll shock your senses, right? Jumping, listening to music, uh, taking a cold shower bath, or even running your hand, as simple as running your hand under cold water, actually helps calm your nerves and calms your senses. So that brings a sense of calm and a sense of relaxed being in your body. Maybe you could try something like this, right? And step away from the problem. Or try walking from one room to another. There is a lot of data, there's a lot of science and research that says that once you walk from one doorway to another, uh, your mind resets. So if you are empowered or entangled in this state of stress and anxiety regarding maybe this particular ad that you're shooting, or a particular movie that is coming out, or a particular performance of something that you're about to do, these are things that can help you reset your mental state at that point in time. The other things that you can do is build yourself up and make yourself resilient, where you are not taking the lack of success of an ad personally. That is very, very important. I want you to change what it means to be a success. In fact, actually, I have done a video about that. I have to just bring that up. I will send that video out, post it on the chat so that you can read it. You can actually view it. I think it'll benefit you a lot once you see that video. Change your perspective of what if to so what, right? When you are coming up with a strategy for an ad, for a sponsor, or when you do your best at a movie or a film and it doesn't do well, change the perspective to, okay, so what if it doesn't do well? Right? It's so what if it doesn't do well? It's not the end of me. It didn't do well because there was a learning from it. Go ahead and figure out what the learning is. It is not a personal failure. I don't want you to corner yourself into what ifs, right? Where, oh, what if it doesn't do well? Now, what if my sponsor sees it? What if the box office collection is not there? What if producers don't come to me? What if I lose face in the society and the media? What if my fans forget about me? What if I become irrelevant? What if I lose my sense of popularity? When you start thinking in the lines of what if, you are adding to that stress and anxiety. It is very, very important for you to have a perspective change. I cannot insist enough on how important it is to change your what ifs to so what. That does not mean that you become oblivious to success, right? And in that case, you're becoming foolish. And I don't want you to do that. It is a practical world out there. Metrics do matter, but don't take those metrics to heart. Um, and if that is something that you are struggling with, then I would suggest that you go see a life coach. A life coach is someone who will help empower you and build your sense of self worth, your sense of confidence, where you will be taught to not seek external validation to the extent that you are doing right now. Not a counselor, but definitely a life coach or a psychotherapist who can use different techniques to help you see your worth, your value, and teach you tips and techniques that work for your ecosystem. That's very important. Third, how do you stay grounded? You have to figure out what is authentic for you, right? Why you started what you started. Once we get caught up in numbers, unfortunately, sometimes we are very hasty in doing things. How many influencers, right, that I know, that a few of them who I've already spoken to, come to me and say that, that we've made the blunder of posting in haste, or posting something that was not at par with what we wanted to do, or making a wrong decision and putting something else out there. And unfortunately for you influencers, when you put something out there, it is, or anyone in the social and media industry, what you put out there is immediately consumed by your thousands or hundreds or umpteen number of followers. And once it is consumed, depending upon what the post was, there is a backlash. See, you have to understand that given the field that you are in, a certain amount of backlash is imperative, right? How you can stay away from backlash and not take it personally is by staying grounded and staying authentic to who you are. Uh, there are ways to do that, but that cannot be really discussed unless and until I don't know what you're about, right? Again, these I there this is stuff that I have already discussed many number of times in my videos. In fact, there is a video also on how to stay authentic. I really think maybe I should bring that up. uh, so see that, see if you're able to see that video, see if you're able to figure yourself out, and keep reminding yourself, dear influencer, keep reminding yourself on why you are doing what you're doing, and uh, don't give in to numbers. So what if you're late? So what if you don't post when you're not ready? It's all right. It is better to be a little late and produce content that is at par with your your expectations, and that in the long term will lead you to a better success, will lead you to a better fan following, and will create a better footprint for you, which is what your worry is. I hope that helped answer your question. My last question, actually, we've gone for quite some time. My last question is, and this is something that was pending, and the person asked me again. So I am going to answer this. How do you learn good habits? Uh, Thank you so much for writing in. I mean, thank you so much, folks, for reaching out to me. It means a lot that I am able to help you guys and that you guys are actually watching the videos and benefiting from it, right? Um, what are good habits? Habits are behaviors and attitudes that we employ to make us more efficient, or to give us a sense of happiness, or to give us a sense of superiority, or to give us a sense of well being. Essentially, that is what a habit is, right? It is a behavior or an attitude that works then like a reflex action without conscious effort. But it is something that is benefiting us in a certain way, which is why we are continuously choosing to fulfill and do that habit. So, example of habits: brushing your teeth, that we do because of hygiene, taking a shower because of hygiene and staying clean. If you are someone that bites your nails due to anxiety, you are doing that because that habit is giving you a sense of calm and is helping you relax, right? Scratching your head when you're nervous, scratching your ear, pulling your ear. Those tics that we have are habits that we do because it helps the body and the mind deal with some sort of a stress in that given form of moment in time. Now, coming back to your question, how do you learn good habits? Well, the first thing is you always start small. Okay, identify why you want to learn a habit. That is very, very important. Identify the reason for it. When the reason is strong, right, then the motivation to follow that habit is going to be stronger. That is very important. So understand why you want that behavior. What is your motive? And secondly, implement disciplines and mechanisms in place that push you and move you towards uh, following this new habit that you want to inculcate. I will give you a simple solution. Again, there are multiple solutions, but there is something that I suggest to begin with because it is very easy to follow, something called as a tic tac sheet. I want you to make a sheet, right? On the left hand side, your column will be task interfering column. Uh, and the second will be task accepting, right? So, what that means is on the left hand side, very simply put, make a two table column. On the left hand side, I want you to identify those things in your environment, whether it is people, whether it is your existing habits, whether it is your indulgences, whether it is your routine, whatever you can think about that will help inhibit this new habit from getting implemented. All right. So on the left hand side, you are identifying and putting down every single thing that you think will interfere with this new habit. On the right hand side, I want you to think of things that will help you encourage and accept this habit, right? You can think of things independently, or you can think of things that mapped to your interferences. For example, if your interference is that, my new habit is that I want to study longer. I want to study till 8 p.m. in the night. I want to right before dinner. And your interference there is, I have a younger sister who keeps coming and disturbing me all the time. So it's very difficult for me to form that habit. So your interference would be, okay, I have a sister who can be very annoying and who can disturb me. Think about how you can deal with her, right? Once you start thinking and chalking your entire ecosystem into small tasks, it breaks up your ecosystem into chunks that are addressable, into chunks that you can actually implement and follow through, thereby making you more successful as a person. This sheet works wonderfully, and I have seen a lot of success with it. So I would request you to try and make that and see if you can benefit from it. And the other tip that I would want to do is that I would give you, once you do this sheet and you are already on your journey to inculcating your habit, how do you make sure that you don't lose the track, right? One tip to make sure that you don't lose track once you're already on that path and journey is that, uh, see, it takes 21 days to form a habit, right? So maybe you say that I will put 210 10 rupees aside if you're talking in rupees, or $1 if you are international. So let's say $21 aside, or 10 rupees for per day. So 210 rupees aside. And every day that I am able to implement that habit, I reclaim my reward, which is 10 rupees for that day. By doing this, you are also employing your endocrine system to help you work and inculcate that habit. Because when you reward yourself, my friends, dopamine is being released. And when dopamine is released, you are actually putting yourself in a cycle of continued motivation. And once you're in that cycle of continued motivation, it will be much easier for you to actually achieve that habit and inculcate that habit as part of your life. I hope that made sense, and I hope that was helpful for you. I will wait to see if we have any questions for now. If we do, go ahead and ask them. Thank you for those comments coming in. I truly appreciate you guys uh, being a part of this and helping me with it. Go ahead for next time, send me a question on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger. I'm available on all mediums. I will maintain anonymity like you have seen. I do understand that some questions become sensitive and you really don't want your data to come out. If you have a need to reach me otherwise to book a session or an assignment or a therapy session, go ahead and do that as well. I am but a click or a call away. Thank you so much for all your uh, for support. I will try and put the videos out right now before I hang up. If you have any questions while I'm doing that, I'm just going to wait to see if you have any questions that I can help you guys with. All right. Okay, I have posted it on my Facebook right now. I'm going to go ahead and post the same on my Instagram as well. This is just the initial set of videos. I will go ahead and post the other videos that we discussed, also based on the question that um, the influencer asked me, which is how do you remain true to yourself? How do you stay grounded? And what are the things that you can do to stay on path? I think we are done for now. Thank you so much. I am signing out. Bye bye. Have a great week. Good night now. Bye.